What is happening, sports fans? It is your main man, Matt, from the DFS 5-pack, rocking it solo Thursday, May 27th. We got dual baseball slates today. We got NBA playoffs. Ryan had some stuff to do this morning, so you got me solo for the early slate, the early MLB slate, that is. We got 5 games. You guys know this is my bread and butter. I love these 5-game slates. I like it when we have these dual slates in a day, Wednesdays and Thursdays. I'm all about it. And yeah, I'm excited to talk this one out with you guys. Unfortunately, like I said, Ryan is tied up this morning. We will be back together this afternoon. And until then, let's crush this 5-gamer. We screen share this and we will hop right in. All righty, we should be rolling. So starting up top, Bieber has not been good at all the past 2 starts. Against Minnesota, they made him work big time. Did not have his A stuff. And against Seattle, he was even worse probably. Against the Tigers here, it's really hard not to like him in a bounce-back spot. He's head and shoulders the best pitcher on the slate. I mean, even though he's not having the greatest year, from his perspective, he's still averaging, 10 more DK points than anyone else on this slate. If I'm making one lineup today, I find it really, really difficult to get away from Bieber. You guys know I'm a believer. I'm a Bieber fan. So on this slate, it seems pretty easy. Just plug him in and go about your business. After that, Marcus Stroman. I'm a Stroman fan. I like Stro. He's a good pitcher. Probably a better real-life pitcher than he is DFS pitcher. He's hella expensive at 9.9. I mean, the spot is cake. Colorado sucks, especially on the road. He should cruise here, but man, are we really trying to spend $10K on Stroman? Probably not where I land, although it's not like we have great options on this slate if that's where you want to, if that's who you want to rock, if that's who you want to rock with. Pablo Lopez, coming off a really nice start against the Mets the last time out. This Mets lineup is atrocious right now, so can basically look at any pitcher against them at the moment. Lopez, also expensive, 9,400. I think both Stroman and Lopez are in play to pair with Bieber. Hard to see myself using one of those guys instead of Bieber. That's just me. I think you'll be really contrarian if you use like Stroman and Lopez. Not where I'm going to go, but again, if you want to get different on a 5-gamer, that will do it. Hauser is a hard no for me, dog. I mean, this is going to be a definite no. Not really a Hauser fan. He hasn't looked great the past 2 starts. San Diego's lineup is not one I want to pick on with a guy like Hauser. Tyler Anderson's an interesting case. I know Ryan is a fan of his stuff. He had been really good to start the season. Atlanta really got to him last time out. Acuna hit an opposite field grand slam. Anderson looked shocked after Acuna hit that, and it seemed to kind of just go downhill after that moment. Against the Cubs, I get both sides of this. I don't think Anderson's the craziest play in the world. I also don't think some Cubs bats are crazy at all. So this is one I definitely have earmarked. I want to see how ownership plays out. If I see the Cubs getting like a ton of love, I have some interest in Anderson. Vice versa, if Anderson's getting some love, I like the Cubs. Matt Boyd, another guy that had been good to start the year, coming off a disappointing start against KC last time out. I mean, this guy has faced KC 3 out of his past 5 starts. Can't fault him too much for getting hit a little bit there. I mean, listen, he's seen the same lineup 3 out of the past 5 times. Those guys have really good numbers off him. I think he's a solid play here, especially, on this slate. I don't mind it at all. Then we get to the elephant in the room, Kyle Hendricks. I was on him big time in that Detroit start. He was really good, 30-plus DK points. Followed it up with a nice outing in St. Louis against the Cardinals. Hendricks was chalk in this spot against the Pirates at home on the first start of the year, and he was not good at all. 4.6 DK points. He's pitching better now. We don't have nearly as many options. I do think that Hendricks and Bieber is probably the optimal route, and you'll see that be really chalky. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, at 7,200 and 10.8, these 2 guys are probably where I'd start my cash game lineup. And in tournaments, I have no problem just going here and trying to get different with some bats. That said, I don't mind a couple of the cheap guys either. Ryan Weathers is not pitching well right now, and I'm not interested in him here. Senzatella is not the craziest play in the world. I mean, this Mets lineup is awful right now. Sensatella's not good, so I don't think the Mets lineup is crazy either against him. But as a pivot off of Hendricks, you could do worse. Spencer Howard, I used him last time out against Boston because he was 4K. He wasn't great, but he started off really, really good. He struck out, I think, 4 of the first 5 hitters he faced. Ended up getting into some trouble, but that's Boston. Encouraged by the 68 pitches he threw. If I'm multi-entering, he's probably in my player pool, but I doubt I get there in one lineup. It's just too risky. Not a bad spot at all. I would say he's in play. I like him more than Sensatella, even though Sensatella's in the better spot. Alrighty, let's move ahead to talk some sticks. I do think that Bieber and Hendricks is. I mean, it's hard to get away from them here. Bieber more so than Hendricks. I mean, Hendricks, he's fine. I'm a Hendricks fan. I used him in that Detroit start, like I said, but let's not pretend like this guy's been amazing all year. ERA close to 5, whip at 1.5. I don't think you're crazy if you want to fade him in tournaments. I'll say that. So I like this slate in particular because all these games start early. They all start by 1:10 Eastern, so that's pretty nice. Let's talk about some bats here. Miami and Philly. I'm not really interested in the Philly bats. No Bryce Harper. Lopez is good enough. Spencer Howard, picking on him isn't the craziest idea in the world. I like other teams more than Miami, but they'll probably be low owned. I would assume so. Probably not the spot I get offense. Bad ballpark, et cetera, et cetera. Other within the 4 games, there's other spots I like more. Colorado and the Mets. Now, this game is a doubleheader, so a 7-inning game. So that does make me have a little bit more interest in the pitchers, especially a guy like Stroman who could potentially go all 7 innings and get that complete game. Not banking on that, though, and he's still too expensive for me. So don't think I land there. The bats in this game, I mean, sure. It's hard to want to get on board. The Rockies' offense is better right now, and they're in the worst matchup. So another spot where I'm really hesitant to go to offense. I guess if I had to choose, I think the Mets would be my favorite side in that game, even though they suck right now. The Cubs at the Pirates. This game hasn't been on the past couple slates because they've been playing at 6:30. So nice to see these boys back on here. I'm not interested in the Pirates bats, although I think they're very, very contrarian against a chalky Hendricks. They just don't do it for me either. They don't have guys in their lineup I want to roster. They're missing a couple of their better hitters. As far as the Cubs go, interested to see if Rizzo will be back in the lineup. I mean, this team has a ton of power against left-handed pitching. Like I mentioned with Anderson, I want to see how much love they're getting. They do look like one of the better stacks on the board in my mind. I'm sure they're going to get some love between them. I guess the offenses in the San Diego-Milwaukee game are in play, and then the Indians are probably going to get a lot of love against Boyd. I like the Cubs here. It's a little bit risky because I know Anderson has good stuff when he's on, but their power upside against lefties is just too real for me to ignore, I imagine, unless they're getting a lot of love. Speaking of the Padres and Brewers, we have Adrian Hauser against Ryan Weathers. I mean, I liked San Diego last night, and they were not good, but I think we can look right back to them again today. They're expensive, so you might have to make a couple concessions, either with punting a couple bats or dropping down from Bieber if you're comfortable doing that. Tatis, 6,200. I mean, he's obviously in play. Machado pinch hit yesterday. Not sure he's in the lineup, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Tommy Pham with another good game. He's all the way down to 3,200. I mean, check the game log, double digits now in 6 straight. Assuming he's leading off again, I see no reason why not to just lock him in. They've got some cheap pieces. Will Myers, not having the greatest year, but we know he's got big upside at this price point. This is a team that steals a lot of bases. Padres stack surely in play. It's not that I think they're in the crush spot of all crush spots, but they're in a fine spot. They're good. They're in a decent ballpark. I'm with it on this 5-gamer. As far as the Brewers go, I can also get on board with some Brewers. I mean, starting off with our boy Avi Garcia, always big time power against left-handed pitching. Had been seeing the ball well before last night. Both pitchers last night in this game were really good, Lauer and Paddock. So props to them. Wasn't expecting it, but sometimes that happens. Lorenzo Cain, Yelich is a contrarian option, lefty on lefty. Um, Here is usually better against righties. He walked last night. I don't mind him as a $2,700 punt play, with power upside. That's all it is, really. Now we get to the Indians and the Tigers, and I want to see something real quick. 1 second, guys. Some of the Cubs have nice numbers off Tyler Anderson. Also, Chris Bryant 7-16, Rizzo 7-18, Jock even. So yeah, I'm more into them. Now, as far as the Tigers have faced Bieber total of 104 times, and they're hitting 167. So, yeah, I have no interest in the Tigers. I was going to say, man, if some of these guys had decent numbers off Bieber hasn't looked good, like I mentioned. So, I don't think this is I don't think this is a slate where where it would have been crazy to use a couple of these Tigers against him in tournaments. The Tigers are just so bad, and I mean, I expect Bieber to bounce back. I just can't do it with Detroit. Their numbers are awful off of him. I get the premise, but just not the spot for me to do it. I'd rather just, like I said earlier, ride with Bieber and get different elsewhere. As far as the Cleveland bats go, I mean, I don't know. Like, Cleveland just doesn't really do it for me. Ramirez is struggling right now. He did walk choice yesterday, so there's buying signs in that. He's 9-35 off Boyd. I mean, yay, I guess. Like, this lineup sucks right now. It's awful because I'm an Indians fan. I respect Boyd, so I don't really feel the need to go to the Indians. I mean, give me the Cubs over the Indians. All things being equal, ownership can change that, of course, but the Indians aren't really doing it for me. The more I think about it, I think Boyd is probably a nice pivot off of Hendricks. The Indians got shut out yesterday by Urania and the Tigers bullpen. So I see no reason why Boyd wouldn't be at least in play here, especially as a pivot off of Hendricks. Or if you want to play Hendricks and Boyd and spend down on your pitchers and load up on bats, always viable. These 5-game slates, I love getting weird. So yeah, there's a ton to like about this slate. I'm excited. I'm about ready to do the write up. Stop screen sharing here. I am about ready to do the write up for customers. And yeah, if you want more of that stuff, if you want more videos, the write ups, more me and Ryan, go check out the DFS5pack.com. We always got promotions going. So we're excited about what's going on forward with NBA playoffs, MLB. Always looking for new people to join our family. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Excited for the slate. Again, like I said, I'll be starting this write up shortly for our customers. And this is just a members only video for the public because you got me rolling solo today. I did not feel like doing 2 videos. So that's all I got. Thanks a lot, guys.